Most digital cameras try to make filmmaking easier, but this one teaches you how to actually do it. And that's exactly why I think that Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K is still the best cinema camera to start filmmaking. Not because it's the easiest to use, not because it has amazing autofocus, but because it teaches you things that actually matter, and with this camera you will get to know them very fast. So if you think about leveling up and buying your first cinema camera, or maybe you want something that will help you grow as a filmmaker and not do everything for you, I think that BMPCC 4K still makes a lot of sense. Let's start with the most obvious thing, the image. Right off the bat we are starting with a big one, because BMPCC 4K is known for having a very good cinematic looking image. The edges are sharp but soft. The colors are vibrant but also cinematic. For me, the image is the biggest advantage of this camera, and I think that it matters a lot when you are starting out, because even if you have problems with doing everything manually, you will be rewarded with the image being very, very beautiful. The footage makes you want to go out and shoot more, and that's great because that lets you experiment with different techniques. It gives you something that's very flexible and serious, and that alone changes the mindset that you bring to your shoots. It's not a photo-video hybrid, it's a real cinema camera, where everything is manual and you can feel it. You get things like shutter angle, false colors, zebras, focus peaking, mini XLR, full-size HDMI and the option to record directly to SSD. That changes the way you work. Instead of just pointing your camera, pressing record and hoping for the best, you actually start to film intentionally, and that changes everything. And I think that it's incredibly valuable when you want to learn filmmaking in a more serious way. What really makes the BMPCC 4K special is that it teaches you manual filmmaking. There is no amazing autofocus here to save you, and there is no point and shoot mentality. Throwing money at it won't make your films much better. You have to learn it and tame it to make good films. And that's not a moment when manual options are only for the pros and you don't even use this function on your camera. Now you are the pro and you are using the camera that's completely manual. You have to think about your settings, you have to think about your exposure, you have to think about the focus. You should probably practice the focus for the shot beforehand, because there is no autofocus here. But I think that if you're watching this video, you're quite ambitious already, so it won't be a problem. And honestly, I think that it's a good thing, because if you learn those fundamentals now, you are not learning the specific camera, you are learning the art of filmmaking, and that lets you use any camera that you want. I said that you can't just throw money at this camera and expect your films to be great, but actually you can upgrade it, and that's another reason that I love the BMPCC 4K so much. You can begin with just a very simple setup. Take your camera, attach a lens and you're ready to roll. And then as your skills improve, you can build a system around it. And the customization options here are really unlimited. From very lightweight setup for run and gun shots, to very, very heavy rigs with a lot of accessories to work only on a tripod. You can choose your way, and I think that it's beautiful. It makes this camera feel really, really yours and completely personalized. And another thing that's great is that those accessories won't be only gadgets to make your camera look cool. Because the camera is fully manual, each accessory will be a huge step forward. Let's say that you buy a top handle for your camera and all of a sudden your shots are 3 times more stable. Or you are deciding to upgrade the battery, and then, instead of 30 minutes, you can shoot for a few hours continuously. If you are curious about the gear that I use with this camera, check out the links in the description below. I also think that the Micro Four Thirds sensor is a great choice for a beginner filmmaker, because a lot of lenses are cheaper and made for photography. That's why it's easier to find a lens that suits you and doesn't cost a fortune. It gives you the room to experiment. A lot of lenses are zoom lenses, a lot of them have built-in stabilization, and it really helps in the beginning. Now, obviously, this camera isn't perfect, and there are some downsides as well. The biggest downside, I think, is battery life. The original battery is very bad, and you will probably need a workaround, and that will be one of the first upgrades that you want to do. Then the autofocus. So I think that the lack of constant autofocus is a pain, and it would be great if this camera had it, but it's not the end of the world, especially if you want to record someone and not yourself. And as stupid as it might sound, some of those downsides are actually what makes it so powerful for learning filmmaking. Because it doesn't hide filmmaking for you under the software, it reveals it and lets you master it. So while some people will see it as inconvenience or something that just slows you down, others will see art, beauty and education. And then there is another huge advantage that I think is one of the biggest advantages, and it's shooting in BRAW and the post-production capabilities of this footage. Once you start shooting in Blackmagic RAW, the format that this camera outputs, you start understanding color grading, you start sharpening your image on your own, and you might think that the editing is just the part that happens after the recording, and yeah, of course that's true, but I think that knowing how you are going to work with your BRAW files makes you record better. You know how to expose correctly, where can you sacrifice something, maybe the scene should be a bit darker, because you know that the shadows won't be the problem for you and the highlights will be the problem. So editing is a part that completely changes your recording. If you want to learn that side of things in a practical way, I already have a lot of tutorials about DaVinci Resolve, from export to color grading and stabilization. Be sure to check them out. And now let's talk about the money, something that might be the most important factor for you. This camera costs around $1,000 and I think that it's very cheap. The value for money here is great because you are getting access to a very beautiful cinematic image and also a professional workflow that usually people associate with a lot more money for cinema camera. And that matters because you can invest the rest of the money in lenses, accessories, maybe a gimbal, things that will take your filmmaking on a whole different level, and it really makes a difference. And on top of that, DaVinci Resolve Studio, so the paid premium version of DaVinci, is already included in this price, and it's a lifetime license. So who is this camera actually for? I think that it's for someone who wants to learn cinematic filmmaking properly, and someone who is willing to work a bit more in exchange for learning a lot more. It's great for the kind of person that doesn't just want a device that records a video, but wants a camera that becomes the part of a creative process. So no, it's not the easiest camera to start with, but if your goal is to actually become a better filmmaker, this might be exactly why it's so strong place to start. If you want to go deeper into what this camera can actually do, or maybe you just bought it and want to learn how to use it, check out more videos on my channel. I have everything from right gear choices to professional workflows and DaVinci Resolve. If this video helped you, leave a like and subscribe, it really helps. Thanks for watching and remember, let your films be shot by reality.